Okay, welcome back to the Corona podcast. So I'm Harry, and I'm joined with Garnigha, and today is a interesting episode because we don't have a guest on, but we're going to be talking about the differences between Queen Mary University of London Dental School and King's College London Dental School as well. So I'm from Queen Mary third year, Garnigha's from KCL third year, so it'd be a good opportunity to see the differences and our differences in experiences at our dental schools. How are you finding it in third year?
So to be fair, third year is my favorite year so far. It's more clinical, which is great, and less lectures and less just doing stuff independently. We've been seeing more patients this year. So we see every 2 weeks, we have 3 clinic slots. So I see at least like 3 patients every 2 weeks, ideally. But obviously, there are times where patients don't come in. But it's also much more hands on. Like you have labs, lecture days only once a week. So it's less content, but more like practical skills, which I quite enjoy, and you just see your friends more, which is also always great. How about you?
I mean, same basically. Like it's my favorite year because we finally get our hands dirty with actually with patients and stuff like that. We're actually doing stuff instead of just like in lectures. How's your week built?
So for us, there's like 2 days that you have to go in every week. So for me, it's Wednesdays, which is my clinic days, and then Fridays, which is for pros. And then every 2 weeks, you have an extra clinic day. So that for me, it's Thursday. And then we also have on Mondays, we sometimes have like extra sessions. So I think once a month, we have oral surgery at Denmark Hill or like any other sessions that you might just add in. Then Tuesdays are lecture days, which is completely online. And most of it's pre-recorded lectures. So you don't even need to like be online. It's like every now and then they do like a Teams call, but everything's recorded, which is great. So it means that if you are like working, you can have Tuesday as your work day.
Hmm. That's quite good. I mean, it's similar to us. We're still doing pros. We're doing oral surgery. It's usually at Mondays. Is like I said, it can be pros, or sometimes we're assisting fifth years in peds clinics. So we've got a clinic
Wow, that's quite
in
cool.
yeah. So we've got a clinic in Stratford, called the Gutman. It's near like Stratford International. So we go there to assist sometimes on Mondays. If not, we're doing pros. And then on Tuesdays, we haven't had anything since Christmas on Tuesdays, but we are going to have like fixed pros labs. And then Wednesdays, unfortunately for us, all of our lectures are in person. So we have to go in, and then they're also like really strict on attendance as well. So they track like if you're coming in, stuff like that. So they're not only just for lectures, but also for clinics and stuff like that. So we've got a whole system called Lift Up, and on there they track everything you've been doing. So any requirements you've done, your attendance, all that kind of stuff. Now Thursdays is our actual clinic day. So we have a clinical partner, and one of us does morning, one does afternoon, and that's in our clinic in Canary Wharf. So it's a brand new clinic, Barkentine. We've got really nice new chairs there. That's pretty fun. That's like my favorite day because I actually get to do stuff. It's finally becoming a dentist, you know. And then Friday is like usually oral surgery, and it can be assisting in restorative dental ward as well.
I guess it must be nice to like see your whole cohort on Wednesdays though. Because I feel like in my university, I kind of just see the same people again and again. Like the
Mhm.
people that I saw in first year, like haven't seen them that much this year because everyone's timetables are very different. So I guess it must be nice to see everyone.
Well, not everyone turns up to Wednesdays, I think. Especially before Christmas, when before Barkentine opened up, we were in Royal London. So everyone was there at the same time. Everyone was doing different stuff. But at lunchtime, we'd see everyone. We'd sit around, play imposter or whatever in the lunch, like staff room. That was pretty fun. So yeah, that's why I feel like I'm enjoying third year more than second and first. Because second year was really, really heavy for us. Like, actually, you know what? We should start right at the beginning. How was your first year?
So first year, I literally don't remember much. So first year, even though I live in London, I moved out to get the whole, London experience. And I literally don't remember going in like at all. I think I went in like maybe once a week maximum. And it would just be for like the first term, we had histology, and that was like once a week, and it was like 3 hours long. And I remember being like, I was excited for that because that was the only time you kind of see everyone. The other days, it was just like online lectures. I think from first year, we had online lectures most of the time. We did have in person lectures, but I think because it wasn't like attendance wasn't mandatory or it just wasn't recorded, like hardly anyone came in. So even if you do go in, it'll be like 10 people. And then, like, as time goes, less and less people just end up going. And then we also did from January, we did like tooth waxing. That was quite fun. That was like our first time like actually doing something like more dental related. And then we also did haptics.
Did you have like any OSCEs for that year?
No, King's
Okay.
usually doesn't do OSCEs. They brought it in from 2025 to 2026. So this year I've got my first OSCE.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we had OSCEs every single year. So first year OSCEs were literally just like, do you know how to wash your hands? Do you know how to clean your bay? Like it was really, really basic stuff. Or like, could you identify this part of a tooth? As in, they would give you like a set of teeth,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, can you label the upper right six or something like that? You know, so just the really basic OSCEs. They're really, really easy. The exams, yeah, we had. What did we have? I have my Notion with all my year one stuff. So we'll see if I can. It was like I literally cannot remember first year at
Yeah.
all.
I think for us, our content for first term was very much like biomed. It's like nerve signaling. It gave me flashbacks to like A level bio and chem. Then second term, it got more interesting with anatomy. And that's when we had like dissection sessions as well. But I think we had like 4 sessions in total for the year. And then we also, in terms of exams, we had 2 main exams and they were both MCQ. One in January, which was 20% towards your final year, and then the second one, which was in July, or no, May, which was 80% towards your final grade. And then we had CAFs, which I guess is in a way similar to OSCEs really. It's like at the practical assessments. We had hand washing as well. And that was our only CAF for first year.
Yeah, so I think we had M1, M2, which were like kind of okay, modular one, which was after Christmas, and one was in the summer. But then we also had ICAs, so they were like basically mock exams. So we had two before M1, so in the autumn term, and then two in like the spring term. So that was like quite good for you to practice. It wasn't just MCQs. The first half was MCQ, and then it was SAQs. But yeah, it was all based on like biomed basically. So if you did biology at A level, then it wasn't easy, but it was obviously like it was really, really similar. We did have very, very basic like dental stuff. So obviously anatomy, very basics of dental materials and like the stress strain curve and all that kind of stuff. I never understood it back then, but yeah, that was fine. And then second year is when it got absolutely, it became like a horror. It was like A levels again, the exams.
Really?
Yeah, so because they gave us so many exams, so we had different modules. So the first module was CHHD, so that's the like human health and disease, like clinical human health and disease. So that was basic. So we had two like doctors that came in, and they basically taught us medicine uh of like the whole body. And the way the test was built was that you would have like a case study of like a patient, and they would present to you, okay, their blood tests, thyroxine levels, all that kind of stuff, and you had to basically say their differential diagnosis, what may they have, and then their definitive diagnosis, okay, based off their clinical history and all this kind of stuff, what do they have? So that wasn't fun because it's really hard to revise for because you should know all your stuff, then know how to apply it to a case. So that was, I mean, the exam was okay for me, but then there was another module we had FFHD, which is like microbiology, viruses, all that kind of stuff. That was not fun either. It's just because that was so content heavy. We also had ICP, which was more to do with that's like intro to clinical practice. That's more about actual dental stuff. So we had a bit of dental materials in there. We had a bit of perio in there. And second year is when we started to do more practical stuff as well. So for our OSCEs was a lot on CHHDs, taking blood, giving intramuscular injection, medical emergencies, that kind of stuff. We also did have like gateways for like pros and for restorations as well. So this is obviously in labs. So we did a session in the haptics, so like practice, and then we did a session in the clinical skills lab to basically like solidify it, and then we had an exam based on that as well. How was it for you in second year?
Yes, we did very similar modules to you. So we did human health and disease as well. That was like our main module. So, in second year, we only had one like written exam period, and that was in like May time. So we had one MCQs, which was on just human health and disease, and the second exam was on essays. So we had 4 modules: so human health and disease, dentistry and society, foundational clinical skills, and there's one more which I don't remember. But I think it was about like choreo and like cons. So we just had to do one essay in each of the 4 modules and then MCQs. See, I think I quite enjoyed second year content, the human health and disease bit. I did not like immunology, pathology, because that was just too content heavy and just too confusing. And I wasn't really a fan of biology back in A levels. So it just kind of reminded me of that. But human health and disease, I did enjoy a bit more because it just felt more like I felt like I was a doctor, to be fair. And then in terms of practical stuff, we did phantom heads in year two. So we did perio, then cons, and then endo. We did at the end of year two as well. And then we started clinics in year two. So in King's, we start clinics from January of year two, and we got to see a few patients. I think I saw two patients, but it really depends on your luck as well. But I think starting clinics was definitely the highlight of year two because it was just so much more fun. And like we started off by just doing it on each other. So me and my clinical partner, and it just made me feel like a real dentist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. In second year, towards this was like after exams, towards the end in like July. That's when we didn't see patients, but like you said, we practiced on partners. We assisted fifth years or third years or whatever in other clinics. But yeah, we didn't actually start endo till third year. So we did our endo module at the start of third year. But how was your like holiday? How long are your holidays between each year?
So first year you have the longest holiday. So I think from around May, end of May till September. In second year, we broke up around first week of July and then we started again in September. I think third year, we end on like the 20th of July and start again in September. So I think as the year goes by, you get less and less holiday. But then for this year, we do have a reading week in February, which is quite nice. How
Okay.
about you?
I mean, that's that sounds a lot nicer than us. So we had 2 months off in like 2, 3 months off in first year. That was nice. Went a couple holidays. But in second year, our final day was the 31st of July, and we were back in 1st of September.
Oh, so
So officially, we had 1 month off, but because after exams, we didn't have any lectures, and we had a couple of clinic days. So it's here and there. So you could still have like 4 day breaks, 5 day breaks, but you need to go back in here and there. And we did have radiology as well. We have radiology throughout second year and third year, and all that fifth year, just a couple of sessions here and there. So depending on which session you're at, some people are really unlucky and actually got their final session on the 31st of July, while some people think they just finished in 15th of July. So it just
oh, okay.
uh, and then with third year, I think everyone finishes towards the end of July. So everyone's in the same boat there. And then yeah, we're back in September for fourth year. Yeah.
Yeah, so not that much break. Do you get reading week?
We don't get reading week. It's more we get how long do we get for Christmas? So this Christmas we was actually at 3, 4 weeks basically. So that was okay. So if I feel like they just clump all our holidays together in at Christmas and in the summer, and then Easter because our exams are in April. So I think we get like a week off after our exams, just like to let us chill. How are your exams this year?
So for us this year, we only have one exam period, like written exams. Obviously, we have the like practical exams into kind of like the competency ones. I think for this year it's crown preps, which is, as you must know, very difficult. And then we have the one written kind of exam in April. So we have, I think, dental materials is our MCQs, and then we also have an OSCE as well. But then we also have like portfolio and like kind of presentations. So we have an audit that we need to do in our groups this year, which is also something that you need to pass to like progress over. And then we have like a POS portfolio that you need to like make sure that all your crown preps are in, like, they are pass worthy, and then you also do good reflections on them.
We haven't actually started cram preps yet, so
Have you not?
that's probably being fixed price, but without doing more than this year.
Okay.
But for us, it's like two exams, MCQ and SAQ exams. Throughout the year, we also have like a couple of projects here and there, like essays and presentations, stuff like that. But they don't really count for as much. And then we also have OSCEs and we have something called SCR as well. So that's more like when you get given a case and you're basically meant to make notes on the case. Like this was all within like a 5 minute time. And then they would ask you questions about this case. So it does feel a lot like an interview, like that kind of, because when it came to the Queen Mary interview, they gave us an essay and they asked us questions about the essay.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it would feel a lot like that. But yeah, how you find like the social life in Kings there?
I think King's has a really good social life because it's like in a really good location. It's in near London Bridge is the main campus. So like it's quite central, which is great. So like after uni, there's so many opportunities to like go out with your friends and do like random stuff. There's also a really good like dental society. I think it's quite big and they're very like on it with like events. So there's quite a few events going on. Also, I think London in general, there's just so many events everywhere because it's around like 6 or 7 universities in London, there's quite a few opportunities to just, like, go out and socialize. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
How's Queen Mary's? How's Whitechapel?
In the Whitechapel area, there's not much going on in the Whitechapel area, but we are really close to places like Liverpool Street. So sometimes me and the guys just like, if we got a long lunch, we just walk all the way to like Liverpool Street, and there's like a marketplace there. They have absolutely everything. So there's like, I think Petticoat Lane, where they have like all sorts of food stands, really cheap food. It's like most office people, they just go there. But then you got Spitalfields Market, where they got like all sorts of food there. Where else did we go? I think even one time my group, after uni, we went and did a kind of escape room as well near in the area. So there is quite a few things if you go towards London, like a 10-minute walk away. But nearby, down one of the down one of the streets, we've got like full of like curry houses basically. So it's usually at the start of the year when new societies, well, when societies open back up again, they get new people in, they all go to the curry houses for like a big, like, meet up with the new recruits, I guess. Near, because I spent some time in Mile End as well, my first degree. I feel like there is a bit more like stuff to do there. We have like Nando's, you have like a couple more food spots there. But you could walk all the way up and down in like 10, 15 minutes from Whitechapel to Mile End. So yeah, so how many people are in your year actually?
There's around 150 in dentistry, BDS, and then around 30, I think, in TTA.
Oh, the dental health, dental hygienist. Okay, yeah, we have around, yeah, I'd say about 30 people in like in terms of hygienists, and then we only have about 75, 80 people in dentistry per year. So we're a lot like smaller.
Do you like having a small cohort?
I do, but then I still don't know everyone there because I know all the guys because I don't really speak to like the girls, only the people in my group really. But it's only about like 30 guys. Yeah, so the ratio is just like there's fewer guys to girls. So you end up like knowing all the guys there. I'm not sure if you know everyone in your year.
I feel like you know their names and like you can
Yeah.
always see a face and you recognize them, but you don't have the chance to speak to everyone. So I've not had a
Yeah.
conversation with like many people in my year, or like even people from first year. You kind of just don't ever see them again. It's quite sad, I guess. But I think the good thing is there's so many people, so it's like you have a greater chance of like finding good friends or like people that match your vibe. And I think with the big cohort, it does make it a bit more fun. Like I recently had my halfway ball and there was around like 100 people that turned up and it was just way more fun because there's so many people. And like with more people, you can obviously have a higher budget and like make it a bit more enjoyable.
If you're enjoying this episode right now and you find it really helpful, it would mean a world to us if you could just follow or subscribe wherever you're listening and share it with someone that you think that this would be really, really helpful for. That way we can bring on more and more guests and share more of our stories. So, what surprised you the most about Kings before you joined and then after you joined?
That's such a good question. I think how much I loved it because I think I was very scared about Kings. So originally I was actually like my first choice was like Birmingham because I really wanted to go out London. I don't want to really stay in London as I grew up in like London. So I just wanted to try something new and I thought Birmingham would be a really good opportunity to like go out, move out of home and like experience something new. But then when offers came back, it was just smarter to do Kings first because of obviously the grade boundaries are higher. So I ended up farming Kings. And then the first few weeks of like joining like university obviously was a bit like tough. It was very lonely, especially because I moved out. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I made the right choice, but I think after a few weeks, I ended up finding like really great friends. And I just fell in love with like everything about King's and university, like how central it is. Like I remember first year, like I really went, I think King's made me go out my comfort zone quite a lot. It like opened up so many new opportunities. And yeah, I think that was the most surprising thing, how much I loved it and how much like enjoyable studying can be. Because I think from like my older sisters and cousins, they all hated university because they chose degrees that are very much like lecture based. So it wasn't that practical. So I think being able to go into a degree where it's very practical and like you're doing new stuff every day and not just sitting behind a screen all day is actually quite good. What surprised you the most about Queen Mary's?
I already went because I did my first degree in Queen Mary, so I already knew a lot about like Mile End side, a little bit on like the Whitechapel campus and that kind of stuff. But I think my surprise came more from when I actually started dentistry.
Mhm.
I had so a good surprise was when I started like having like tutors and stuff like that when I was more on the clinical side. Is I first of all thought they were going to be like, oh, you should know everything. Like it would be like very, what do you call it? Wouldn't be friendly, right? So where they like expect you to do stuff, not, you won't get much support, that kind of stuff. Because that's often what we hear about university, where they just let you to do whatever, right? But I haven't had a single tutor that hasn't been supportive. They all have their own they have their own thing about them. Some are better in endo than or resto or perio, but they're all like supportive in their own ways. Mm, and obviously, like if you need any help, they're always there for you. So I felt like that was one of the things that also compared to my previous degree, which was more lecture based. There was support all around. Because before in my old degree, oh, you would just have your tutor, your academic tutor, but here you would have the student support office, that your head of year, all your tutors for all your different components, so in perio, pros, and resto. So if there's any issue, you can talk to any of them, and they'll all be like really, really open. And I thought that was a quite lovely surprise. On the flip side, I did have a surprise, especially when I started, was like the imposter syndrome, because it took me so long to get into dentistry that when I did, I was in that constant like state of, oh wow, I'm actually here now. Um, am I even cut out for this? Was I even meant to be here? That kind of stuff. That was when it caught me off surprise. But um, there's obviously going to be challenges when you join dental school. So either like did you make the right choice, or for me it was, am I meant to be here? But I think it just takes a bit of time and a bit of like self love to like keep you going, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think imposter syndrome is very normal, especially in dentistry or like similar subjects like medicine, where you work so hard to get in, and once you get in and you compare yourself to everyone around you who's worked just as hard and are like in the same, have the same like grades as you, same everything, it's very normal to feel a bit behind. But like even when you have like sessions like tutorials and like someone's always answering questions and you're a bit unsure, it can be very discouraging, like just not feeling like you're meant to be here. And I guess with dentistry and medicine, there's that added responsibility. Like if you don't know your stuff, you are obviously, you have someone else's life in your hands, or like someone else's health in your hands. So it's just such
Yeah,
a
we don't deal with life and death.
we're not saving lives here, but you're still responsible for a patient, like a
Yeah,
real human being who has their own family. So I think it can be very nerve-wracking when you think of it that way. Like even in clinics now, I do like I do feel very nervous before seeing any patient, even though done it since September. Every time I see a patient, I like go through my notes again and again, get my tutors to check everything before I go in and get the patient in because I'm just so nervous. And I think obviously it's something that needs to come with time, like building my confidence. Yeah, this just can be a bit tough. But as you mentioned, tutors are so great. I think they're literally just like, they're so chill. Like I feel like in school we were brought up in such like teachers who are just very strict, don't really talk to you as if like you're also someone who's like on the same vibe as them, I guess. Like I think in university, I noticed that everyone's a bit more chill. They kind of talk to you as if like you're an adult as well. Whereas in school, we were always so used to being like belittled and just treated as children, which is such a nice difference to have. And I think it's very nice because I think tutors are very honest as well. And I think they're very motivating and they tell you like they've been through the same stuff as you. Like it's okay if you don't get this right straight away. It's okay if you make one small mistake because we've all been there. I think that's like really important.
hmm. Yeah, speaking of like nerves before a patient, I even remember, and this was this year, by the way, third year. I think my first or second time I had clinic, I was there like praying that my patient didn't come. Because I was there like, I want you to DNA because I feel really, really nervous. But after a point, I was thinking, no, no, no. Why am I thinking of that? I've literally got to see this patient if I want to become better. And then like now when I see a patient, I build confidence just by talking to them first of all. Whereas when they get comfortable, like I try and make them feel comfortable just chatting about whatever. So I think, yeah, as in like I literally just try and talk to them, not even about dentistry, about all sorts of stuff, what they've been up to, what they had for lunch, all that kind of stuff. Because not only does that make them feel more comfortable, that makes me feel a lot more confident because now I'm not just, here's a patient, do your work. It's more about, okay, I got to know this patient, I know what they need to do. I know what I need to do to them or how I can help them, that kind of stuff. So that builds confidence in me whilst building trust in them. So I feel like that's a really good way to build a kind of clinical confidence.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. It's best to always just, like, get to know the patient before you, like, get straight into their mouth.
Because I feel like that could be like a common issue where you're thinking about clinical requirements. You're thinking, "Oh, this patient is for a restoration." So then they just become a number. Whereas if you think of, "Oh, I'm seeing this patient again. We spoke about this, this, and this last time." So I have another patient. So during Christmas, he said he went to Umrah, right? He went to Hajj. So then I'm thinking, okay, next time I see him, I'm going to ask him how that went. So just try and build more than just a dental relationship, more of like even more like a friendly relationship. Because then they feel not only confident in your skills, but also confident in just in dentistry as a whole, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so true. I remember in the start as well, I would like if I had a patient, I just hope it's just for perio because that was the only thing I was mid comfortable at, and I was just so scared to do restorations or fillings because obviously it's very nerve wracking to do it the first time. But now I think I've changed my mindset in the way like in dental school, you're protected. You have these tutors, that you have so many people around you that you can call for help. So even if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world because someone can always fix it. And it's best to make the mistake now because obviously after you graduate, you don't have someone that you can call in like 1 second who'll come to you straight away. Because I think I may be wrong, but in foundation year, you do have a supervisor, but they are a dentist themselves. They have their own patients. So if you are stuck during an appointment, you have to wait till the supervisor's done. So I think in dental school, you just have to make the mistakes now so that you learn and just try to take every opportunity that comes. That's something I regret a bit from the start of the year because I think if there was like a spare patient and I didn't have a patient, I would not be the first one to be like, yeah, can I have that patient? I'd be like, no, it's fine. I'd rather just sit in my bed and do nothing because I was just too nervous.
Yeah, I've actually been on the opposite end where like nowadays I'm there like, can I take this patient if no one else is taking them? You know, because like even though I think it was literally like last Thursday, my patient DNA'd, but then like there's a spare patient in the afternoon. I was like, I don't care I'm taking that one. You know, like we had about 6 DNAs in the morning, but I was the first one to get there. I'm like, okay, I'm taking this afternoon one. So everyone else had to like I had to like assist other people, and I was the only one like my patient, even though I shouldn't have had one.
Mhm.
But yes, I think any opportunity is try and get a patient, you try and get those reps in, try and get those that experience points in, you know. So you said mentioned Denmark Hill. Don't you have like quite a few outreach clinics? We've got Denmark Hill. Where's it? Where?
Denmark Hill is not really an outreach clinic. It is I think Denmark Hill was where DTH primarily do their studies in, like in third year, and we use it for oral surgery in third year. I think in fourth and fifth year you do use it more often, but I'm not too sure for which category. I think it's usually extractions and oral surgery, and then everything else is at Guy's. We do have two outreaches. We have West Norwood and Portsmouth, which is during fifth year. So 50% of the year go to Portsmouth and the other 50% to West Norwood. Obviously, everyone wants to go Portsmouth, or like most people do, but I think it's very much like randomly allocated. So for Portsmouth, every month you go to Portsmouth for a week. So you do around like 10 to 12 weeks in the year. And then for West Norwood, you just have like a schedule that you go to and you do outreach stuff.
Where's West Norwood?
It's in London. I think it's near South London, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
It's close by, so it's commutable. So if you go Portsmouth, you get a com, they arrange that all for you, which is great. And like it's near a beach, so it's like people tend to have a bit more of a social life in Portsmouth. But in West Norwood, it's more in London, so you can just commute normally. How's your
Yeah.
outreach programs?
So we have, like I said, so we have Pete's Clinic in Stratford. That's the Gutman. We have the one that we go to for our clinics, Barkentine in West Ferry. That's like around Canary Wharf. And we have another one, Kenworthy. That's in Homerton. We also did have one a couple of years ago in Southend, but then they closed down. And they may open one, I think, in a few years in Barking. That's what I've been hearing. Loads of people are like, I don't want to go Barking. Yeah, so that was like so Southend was like the residential one where you'd have like common stuff, but then they closed that down and they're thinking about getting there's a possibility of having like residential in Barking because
Barking.
people who because especially people who commute like far already for Whitechapel have to go even further for Barking.
So
Is
I
it
actually live
so?
in Barking, and it's literally so close to East London.
Yeah, maybe you should have gone Queen Mary.
I'm good.
No,
I would not want to go to like stay in the same hometown and like see people. That would just be too awkward.
yeah. Yeah, we have quite a few people from like Barking area, you know, so and they find like a really, really easy commute because all you need to do is go to Ilford and take Lizzie line, and you're there in like a couple 10 or 20 minutes or so, isn't it? So how was your commute?
So my commute is really easy. I live like 40 minutes door to door from university, which is great. I think that's the best bit about King's. It's literally a minute away from London Bridge Station. Like you come out and you see the hospital.
Wait, so how tall is the
So it's
guy's
50
building?
floors. 24 is our, to be fair, you only have to go up 24. 24 is where changing rooms are. And then 21, 25, and 26 are clinics. And then 18 is haptics. And then 20 is like pos labs.
So ours is a lot bigger. So we need to go up to the third floor. Um, so third floor is like it really really hurts my legs going up those stairs because it's a long walk. Or we obviously take the lift. But yeah, so in the dental hospital, it's actually quite small compared to your guys' one. Because is it just dentistry in guys?
No, so it's a hospital that has like different sections, but we're in the tower section, which primarily dentistry, but there are other stuff as well. I think 1 to 18 is not to do with Kings, and then 18 to 30 is where like the dental school is kind of.
Okay, yeah. So we have we have two buildings. One is at the Royal London Hospital, which is like all the medical side. So they would go there, and that's like a massive building. And then we have the dental hospital, which is a lot smaller. Basement we have like lecture rooms and offices and stuff. Ground floor we have our clinics. The OS is there. Second floor would be more clinics, and there would be wait, hold on, what did I say? No, first floor is where you have like other clinics. Second floor would be X-rays, so like radiology stuff and more clinics. Third floor is where we have. That's where basically the dental school starts, third to fifth. So you would have the changing rooms in there. You would have the clinical skills labs. You have pros in there. Haptics are there as well. And then fourth floor, that's when we have offices. So all like the dental staff, all the admin staff are all there, and they would have like one seminar room. The fifth floor is where we have the other seminar rooms. We have a little library in there, like a little computer room, and a staff room as well. So everything's within that 5 floors. So yeah, so you're bound to bump into somebody who's doing something else. So you're always going to see like familiar faces in changing rooms or elsewhere. That's why I quite like that building because, firstly, you don't need to go up like 24 flights of stairs, and yeah, because it's so Queen Mary feels like like Barts feels like so like tight knit because you could be going about your day, right? Go to the library, go to the dental hospital. We also have something called the Garrett Building, which is like one of the buildings which has all the lecture rooms, and like the cafe, and like that's basically I'd say that's the campus really, Whitechapel. So you're bound to see someone there as well. That's why I quite like it. Yeah. How about you? So if you were to go in,
So do you guys go to Royal London Hospital and do any clinics there, or is that
no,
just the
well,
hospital?
that's just the hospital. So we never have it been there except to get our CRS cards or to get our IDs. Other than that, we'd literally never been there.
I don't know why I was under the assumption that you guys did like dental clinics in the Royal London Hospital.
No, we have our own dental hospital next to it.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So if you were to go to uni, would you? How likely is it that you bump into someone that you know?
To be fair, it is quite likely because, as I said, guys is the primarily hospital that you're in, like especially for third years. One's at guys, except from 1 day a week, or 1 day a month actually, when you're at Denmark Hill. So you do bump into people. Like lifts is the most likely place that you bump into people, as you said, in the changing rooms. But you also have a cafe. So next to the changing rooms is like a little, they call it a cafe, but it's just a seating area. There's no drinks being made. But there is this like a small kitchen where you can like microwave your food. Most students tend to go there for lunch. So you see people there and it can get very chaotic and loud. Yeah. So you do bump into people every now and then, but it depends on the days you're going at because everyone's kind of spread across the week.
I do remember when went to King's for like an open day. I remember the view. That was a lovely view out the windows. Uh,
I have to say that is the best
but I,
of Kings. Every sunset and like literally every time, especially in winter when it's 4 p.m. sunset, as I'm finishing clinics, I could just see the beautiful view and the like sun. And it's just so gorgeous. Like everyone's always out there with their phones out, even like tutors. You literally catch them by the windows taking pictures because it's so beautiful. I think patients love that too. It's like my favorite like like starter to get into like conversation with the patient. Like, oh, how was your journey? Did you like the view? And like everyone's just so like they love it.
I usually start with the weather because that's one thing everyone hates. It's like weather's awful today, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, in terms of view, we have a really good view of Liverpool Street. So all like the Gherkin, all that kind of walkie-talkie, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's as nice as the view out of Kings. But then also we're only on the fifth floor. You guys are on the
That's true.
40th floor or whatever.
You see a lot.
Yeah, and you're next to the Shard, right? Do you see the Shard?
Yeah, so the Shard is right next to us, yeah. Actually, I was when I before applying to dental school, I remember seeing TikToks on, like, King's Dentistry, and everything people like, all people would speak about would be the Shard. Like, at one point, I was, like, a year 12, so I was very young, and I don't know why I was so silly, but I literally thought the dental hospital was, like, in the Shard. I don't know why I thought that. So I remember coming in and being like, "Wait, it's not in the Shard, it's just next to the Shard."
Yeah, it's like so you're about to walk in. And you're like, I want to go to Kings. They're like, no, point out the other building over there. Yeah.
Did you ever
Have you
want
ever?
to go King's?
Did I ever want to go Kings? Yeah, so originally because I applied twice to dentistry, I applied first when I was in sixth form. So I didn't want to go to either one of King's or Barts because to be honest, if you get into dental school, that's enough. It doesn't really matter where you go, right? It's like there's only a few nuances that are different. So I just wanted to go one of the two. So I went to open days for both, and yeah. So I just wanted to go to both, and then after I did my first degree, I applied to the 4-year course in
Mhm.
King's and the normal course in Barts. I mean, I got interviews for both, but I only got into the Barts one. So yeah, I did go. I did want to go to King's, but I wasn't really fussed where I was going to go. I just wanted to do dentistry. I feel like that's one thing that I think people sometimes are too fixated on where they're going,
Mhm.
right? They're like, oh, I want to stay in London, but if you get an opportunity elsewhere, take it because there aren't that many spots, and you should just try and not be like too picky, isn't it?
I
Because
'Cause at the end of the
yeah,
day, you'd rather, like, move out for 5 years than stay in London and live the rest of your life in a career that you're not interested in or you didn't want in the first place. And, like, yeah, it's very true. Why did you not apply to, like, Manchester, Birmingham as well?
oh no, I did. I applied to, I think it was Bristol, because when I was in year 12, I didn't get A star A that they were asking for. I only got 3 A's, so I couldn't apply to Kings or Barts, but I did want to go because it was near home. But instead I applied for Bristol, Plymouth, Manchester, and Cardiff. So the thing is, Manchester and Cardiff straight away they rejected me, and then Bristol and Plymouth I got interviews for, but I didn't get past the interviews. So I didn't get offers. But then when I was applying the second time around, I applied to um, Barts, Queen, yeah, Barts, Kings, and Bristol because when I was applying for my second degree, I was like, I actually do want to stay near home
Mhm.
because I'll be paying for my degree out of pocket
Oh, yeah.
because you can't get a tuition fee loan for your second undergrad. So if I'm moving out, then I'm gonna be like so out of like pocket,
That's
right? I've got to
of
spend
course.
on my degree, yeah. It's the cost of living and then also paying for my uni as well. So that's why I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll go Bristol, which isn't too far away anyway. But then luckily I got into Barts and I can just commute, which is good. Yeah, it's only about 50-minute commute for me, 45-minute commute.
Why didn't you take a gap year? Why did you do, like, a different course and then reapply?
So firstly, I was COVID year, so I didn't do my A levels, and they gave me ABB.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I could not apply again. I wasn't going to get anywhere with it with those, and I didn't really want to sit my A levels again because I think because it was so uncertain what they were going to do, whether they're going to have a reset in November. Like this was like peak COVID
Mhm.
in the first lockdown, so they were like, we don't know when you're going to write your exam if you were to write it at all. So I was like, if I could either not go to university and be stuck in limbo and see what the government's saying about the A levels, or I can just try and get a degree done and use that degree to get into dentistry. So I already had an offer to do neuroscience in Queen Mary, so I decided to just go for that. Because I think by the time they did make people write the exams, it was November. So then you would have missed the application date anyway. then if I was to apply it, it would have been the same as me taking 2 gap years. But in that space of time, in that span of time, in 3 years, I got a degree. So I was fine with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like if there wasn't COVID, then yeah, I would have tried to. 'Cause I would have written my exam, so hopefully I would have done better, and I would have reapplied to try and get those offers. But I guess way things planned out the way they did, and it worked out.
During the 3 years of neuroscience, did you ever like, consider just sticking to neuroscience, or did you always have that drive to like carry on to dentistry after?
I always wanted dentistry because even my first week there, I literally went up to my head of the course, and I was like, "For medicine, you've got like a guaranteed interview pathway. Do you have one for dentistry?" She was like, "No," at the time, and then I was still fixated, and I was like, I'm not gonna like be deterred." But I did enjoy neuroscience, but I was like, "This isn't what I want to do. I don't really like research. I want to work with people." That was my number one thing I wanted to do. So in third year, they were like, "Oh yeah, there is a guaranteed interview scheme now," and luckily I got in, and that's how I got into Queen Mary that time around. But yeah, I don't think there was ever a time that I didn't want to do dentistry. That's why I feel like that's why imposter syndrome kicked in so hard for me. So when I did get it,
Mhm.
I had at that point wanted to get in for 5 years. Yeah. How about yourself? Did you? You said you wanted to do finance first. So what made you switch to dentistry?
So like it was always between like finance or dentistry in year 12, which is why I chose like maths, chem, bio, and econ. I think with dentistry, the reason I loved it so much was the talking to people and like having like such a good relationship with your patients that you see again and again, and just it's very practical, which I think is more me compared to like finance, which is a bit more solo working. Like you're obviously you work as part of a team, but you have your own tasks to do, and like you're just constantly you may be talking to clients, but it's mostly just talking to your laptop really, and just dealing with stuff on laptops and like spreadsheets. But the main reason why I end up doing dentistry is because finance. I was just not good at econ. But I think it was a blessing in disguise because I don't think I would have enjoyed finance. I only liked econ in year 12 because, and the idea of finance because of like the aesthetic of it, which is really bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think that's one of the things that you don't really get in many other careers. That instant like you can see on your patient how you've helped them.
Mhm.
Whereas I guess in finance, they'll be happy, but you don't get that instant like, "Oh wow, like you've changed my smile. Now I'm gonna walk out of here beaming with confidence," right?
True.
So I feel like that's one thing that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. I guess if
Yeah.
you're really into numbers and like you have a very numerical mind, you would enjoy finance. But I liked maths, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. And I think just talking to people and like have making a change is what would like for me is something that I would find rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like with this career, not only is it like satisfying to yourself, because dentistry can be like quite when you're doing perio and you're scraping out the
Yeah.
calculus and stuff like that. That's so satisfying. But then also that patient's going to walk out of there. You're putting a smile on their face as well, right? Literally and figuratively. But so it's rewarding for yourself and for the patient, which is like a lovely feeling. Are there any societies that you do in Kings?
No, unfortunately not. I should. Like, I tell everyone, like, if you go to first year, like, join as many societies as possible. Because I think first year is the best time to join a society because everyone's a fresher. Everyone's nice either way. But I think going as a fresher is just a bit more easier in terms of time as well. In third year, I was meaning to join societies, and I keep saying it every year, but I just never end up doing it because of time or because I'm kind of tired after university. I just want to go home. But maybe fourth year might be the year. How about you?
For me, first year, what did I do? I mean, I tried out loads. I tried out like Muay Thai. I tried, I think I tried boxing. I tried jujitsu, all the kind of sport ones. And then I think yeah. So I stuck with rugby for about 2 years, but then when it came to third year, it came to like time and yeah. So in the clinical years, you not only you feel like you have less time because you're always out and about doing stuff. You feel a lot more fatigue really quickly because you're doing a lot more compared to just lectures where you're just sitting there in the first 2 years. So I had to give up this year because when it came to like, working and studying it, well, it was just too much. It was just taking too much time. So I enjoyed it at the time, but unfortunately, I had one thing I had to give up. If you could go back to first year, and go to any society, which one would it be?
Mm.
What does your uni offer in terms of societies that you wish that you took advantage of?
So I do wish, like Bharatanatyam. So obviously I did that as a child, as most Tamil girls did growing up. And then I just stopped after grade 5. And I think I remember in first year thinking I want to rejoin it and just see if I can like do it again. But then I just never had the confidence and just was too shy to go back. And so probably that. Because I feel like I'm
Mhm.
not like Kings has so many societies, but I just not something that I myself am like interested in. They do like sports societies, like you mentioned. They have really good like GKT sports teams, but I'm just not a sporty person. So for me, it's just not suitable. They do like music societies, dance societies. They have a lot going on socially. I think it's something that you need to like put yourself forward for it to be able to like notice all the society that's going on, which I didn't do that much.
So there's a Bharatanatyam society.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we only have like a Tamil sock. Really, it's massive. Like the Barts Tamil sock is massive, and the Queen Mary one's even bigger.
Mm.
So, do you have like separate societies for GKT and for KCL overall?
Not really. I think it's just sports that are different, but everything else is the same.
Okay.
So with Queen
Yeah.
Mary's, it's quite a big difference between Barts and Queen Mary's, right?
Yeah. Because because we're on like different campuses, and sometimes we do feel a bit separated from the QM students because we literally never see them because they're at Mile End. We only really go to Mile End to do exams. That's the only time when we go there. And I think first year for a couple of lectures, that was all. But yeah, in terms of Tamil Sock, in terms of sports teams, covered by the societies, there's Barts only, and then there's Queen Mary only as well. So if you do, say for example, you joined Bart's TSOC and you're like, I don't really like the vibe. There's also another TSOC to get involved with as well. It could be the same with sports and stuff. Um, that's yeah, but I don't think there's a single society that you're not gonna like. And we always have something called you probably might have it as well. It's called tables, right? And that's like when Wednesday nights, because no one has clinics on Wednesdays,
Mhm.
right? So on Wednesday nights, it's for like sports teams to have like a piss up, right? So that's when they
Yeah.
go out drinking. So there's one in Queen Mary, that's Hail Mary,
Mhm.
where all their sports teams just do it on Wednesdays, and then at Barts it is tables where they play like games stuff like that with your sports teams. That's pretty fun.
Are like people outside of sports teams still allowed to go, or is it just reserved?
But yeah, no. So there's like tables for particular sports teams,
Mhm.
but then if you want to go, you can go as well. You just got to buy a ticket. That's all.
Okay.
So yeah, so like sometimes even people who are in sports societies they bring their friends anyway, and then they do host like other events and stuff. There's like a bigger bar in Queen Mary, but there's also like a smaller bar. There's like a cafe that turns into a bar at night in Barts as well. That's in the Garrett building. Yeah.
We have something similar. We have sports nights every Wednesdays as well. And it's just like it's kind of like a club night, but in a little sports bar. I think we have two. We have one called the Vault, which is in Strand campus, and then one in Guy's campus, which is Guy's bar. And like every
Mm.
week it's like a different theme, which is quite cool.
Okay. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I went quite a few times in first year and then haven't been since first year actually, but maybe
Uh,
again. I feel like
too old for
first
that.
is always a year when like you do loads of stuff and then after that you kind of just retire.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of retired after my first degree, so then when everyone was going clubbing in like first year, I was like, too old for this stuff now. But, I mean, I guess it depends on who you surround yourself with,
Yeah.
right? Because some people, because like, when I was part of rugby, I still went to tables. It wasn't clubbing as I say, it was just like a massive piss up. We playing drinking games and stuff like that, which was fun. But I couldn't do that every week. I don't think my liver let me do that.
Yeah, I think
But
now
yeah,
I prefer just going to normal bars with my friends rather than like university bars or like clubbing. Because I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like in London the clubs aren't as good as out of London. Like, obviously, we have Ministry of Sound, which is great, but I think I went in second year. I used to go a lot of times in first year when I lived really close. I went once or twice in second year, and I just didn't enjoy it as much because I felt like it's very much first year based and first year heavy. So nowadays, I prefer to just go out into central London, like Soho, Greek Street, and just go to a few bars there. Whereas I know in like Midlands, all 3 years, like everyone would be at the club.
yeah. So in first year, where was your com? And my cousin stayed in. is it Moonraker Point? That's the one that he stayed in.
Mhm.
What was your comm like?
Mine was Great Dover Street. Kings has quite a few comms, which is really good, and they're all quite near. So we have Great Dover Street, which is reserved only for first years, and it's literally filled with like medics and dentists. Like everyone goes to that comm. So like in first year, that's like your first point of contact to like make friends is like your flatmates and like everyone around you because it's like 9 blocks. I think there's like maybe like 400 students in that one comm, or like probably more than that actually. And so it's like first year heavy. So like when you go out for a nightclub, like everyone's come back at the same time, everyone's leaving at the same times. Like in like communal places, everyone will be there right before like Tuesdays, which is like ministry Tuesdays. There's also a few comms right next to campus. There's one called Wolfson House, which is literally next door to the hospital. Most people go there as
Mhm.
well. Also Orchard Lisle, which is also in Guy's campus. The one that I went to was around an 10-minute walk. So there's like 3 campuses within like 10 minutes away, which is good. I said that wrong. 3 comms, which are like 10 minutes away from campus, which is great. How about you?
Yeah,
How's
we have
what?
so we have because we have 3 different campuses. There's one campus that is never really spoken about. That's Charterhouse Square. That's in, like, central London, like, Farringdon area. That's for, like, med students towards the end, like, 4th and 5th year. Like, that is, St. Bartholomew's Hospital,
Mhm.
right? That's where we get Barts from. But there's a comm there called Dawson Hall. That is for it can be for med dental students, but it can also be for allied courses. That'd be like biomedical sciences and neuroscience was an example of that. Ecology, like the other sciences there as well. There's Floyer House, which is the one in Whitechapel, and in Mile End you have tons more. So when I was in my first year of neuroscience, I stayed in one of the comms called what was it called? Fielding House. That was at Fielding House. But there's about I think there's about probably let me count actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. I think it's about 15 different like buildings that you can stay in. So obviously they depend on um like the amenities there. So if you want a double bed, single bed, shared toilet, ensuite, that kind of stuff. So you have like all these different varieties there as well. That's where you get most of the variety. If you want to stay in Whitechapel, you only have shared bathroom, single bed, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then obviously nearby you have private com as well.
Would you recommend moving out? Like if you could go back,
Oh,
would you always move out or would you stay at home?
first year, always move out. At least first year, even if you live nearby, move out. Because as part of the first year, realistically, you're not going to be learning much or learning any more than you already know. Like if you're in dentistry, like I said, you're going to be doing recapping biology, recapping chemistry. So use that year to like make friends, have fun, like literally live the uni life. Make sure, of course, like pass your exams, but I feel like you can't really do that as much if you're just living at home. I
Mhm.
mean, of course you can. If you live in London, say you live in Barking, right? You could have commuted to London all the time to go out for like clubbing and stuff. But it'd be a lot more difficult to meet friends.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're like living with people, it's really easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because say they're doing something that night, you can join them. You know, do stuff like that.
Yeah, I always say to like my younger cousins, like you need to move out in first year, even if you go to a London uni, because the independence you firstly get is like so useful and like so important for like your future life. And like even just like being in a being in halls with like everyone around you is the same age as you and like every night like you can just make spontaneous plans. Like you can just watch a movie in bed at like 11 p.m. with your friend and like just have so much independence as well and freedom. Like at home you have freedom as well if like your parents are safe. I think just being in a con where, like, the world's your oyster, quite literally. Like, you can just
Yeah,
leave at, like, 11 p.m., don't need to tell anyone, and just go on a little walk if you're feeling, like, stressed out. Or you can just, like, go see your friends whenever you want. You can make spontaneous plans. You don't have to, like, rely on, like, your parents dropping you off to the station or your parents staying awake so you can get back home in time. Also, I think in terms of, like, independence, like, talking about that again, you learn how to cook, learn how to, like, live independently, which I think is a very important skill to have, and first year is just the best time to get it when you're starting a whole new chapter of your life, going to university. So, yeah, I think
you
move out
try to learn to cook, or you have sleep for dinner. That's what you have.
or you take food back from your home and put in the
Yes,
freezer.
yes. Yeah, because if you live close enough, you can just take food. Like, go home, take your laundry with you, because washing laundry at uni is expensive, right? Just stock up on food, bring that back as well. That's what you could do. And then your parents are like, you should just stayed at home. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's the fun of it. I think everyone should. Was grocery shopping expensive? Because obviously near like London Bridge and stuff.
There's still, like, for us, there was, like, Tesco's. There's actually a little, like, a 15-minute walk away. So that was, like, my best, like, most common place to go get groceries. But I'd also be the person that steals it from home. Like, if I go home on the weekend, I would ask my parents to do some grocery shopping, and I'd just shove it in a suitcase and take it back. Like, I remember
Yeah.
sometimes if it was, like, during exam season, I was staying in a comm, like, my dad would come on the train and give me food, and I'll just take it back to my comm.
You got your personal up by eats.
Yeah.
So you have. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
I
think, like,
think
I would if I ever had to go back, I'd always move out first year because it was just such a good experience, and I think I genuinely learned so much about myself and made such great friends as well.
yeah, I even say that second year as well. So
Did
because I
you?
was like, yeah, I enjoyed it so much that I was like, okay, I want to move up second year. So I moved up with my mate. We just got our own like little flat and stuff. That was pretty fun. Yeah, rent prices in London are ridiculous. So I was like, I don't want to be paying for this anymore. So just third year of my first degree, I just stayed at home, and since then. But then, like even now, I'm like, I wish I could move out again. If I could just walk there, it would be so nice.
Mhm.
Having to like commute a rush hour is not fun at all. But but I feel like wherever you go, you're gonna have trouble because say if you stayed at home, sometimes you might feel, oh, I don't feel like integrated into university. You might have that issue. But if you do move out, you might feel homesick. It's just you're gonna have. There's no like right or wrong answer. Just you're gonna have a trouble somewhere along the way, but you just gotta get through it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think even when you do move out, like, the first month is quite lonely because 'cause you're meeting loads of people, but none of it sticks. Like, you meet one person, the next day you can never speak to them again, and I think it takes time to find friends that suit what you're looking for and, like, match your energy, I'll say. And, like, in the first term, everyone's just very surface level with each other. So it's like I remember feeling very lonely, like, feeling like, "Oh, like, did I make the right decision in moving out in first year? Because like, I'm not that comfortable with anyone yet." But, like, after, like, 2, 3 weeks, like, you generally find your people. And, like, even if
Yeah.
you don't, like, obviously there are times where even, like, end of first year, you may felt like you're still not at the place you want to be, and that's perfectly fine. Like, it'll just come later on. Like, second and third year, some people make great friends. So
Mm.
it's all about, as you said, just sticking by it and just waiting and seeing.
Did you have like any catering for any of the accom?
I don't think Kate does that. I don't remember ever hearing about any catered comms. Most of it had kitchens where you just have to kind of fend for yourself.
Some universities they do provide catering, but Queen Mary don't either. But so I lived in a flat where the building was on the bottom, on the ground floor was like a cafe.
Mhm.
So at that cafe, you could basically at the start of the year you can get like coupons and stuff. So you pay for the year, you just go downstairs, you could eat there because you paid for the year. Like you could have I think, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that kind of stuff. So it wouldn't be part of the accom. You could pay for it separately if you wanted catered food.
Oh, wow, that's
So
really
yeah,
cool. How much was it for a year? Do you know?
I think it was quite pricey because it's all like cook fresh for you. But yeah, if you're someone that literally, I mean, you could obviously just do dinners only, that kind of stuff, or breakfast only. So you can just go there, have breakfast, that kind of stuff every morning if you wanted to. Uh, you can still go there during uni time, and it'd be like a normal cafe where you pay for it and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it was a bit like a mess hall. And the way that the Milan campus is built, it's not like everything's scattered, all the common scattered. It's like all in one place. So you can go over to your friend's building. I remember in first year when we were having like flat parties, everyone would be like, okay, this building's dead. Let's go to this building, right? Just go to like all these different buildings. I remember, I think it was Halloween night. We saw like security like run up the stairs in one, a com raid that one, or whatever, because there's two people in that flat. But I think yeah, first year is like where you make all those memories before all the lecture stuff and all the
Before you start
clinical stuff
logging
starts
in.
kicking in. Before you actually go to university for the reason why you're going to university.
Do you ever miss first year?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think like that's when you feel like you had total freedom.
Mhm.
Well, I don't mean the first year. I mean my first year. My second first year was is in my dentistry first year. was because I was working at the same time. It just felt like a year where I was just working and not really doing dentistry as much.
Mhm.
Like, because I knew the content anyway, most of the content. And I was just spending that time trying to pay for the degree. So in that sense, I would have loved to just skip that first year, go to second year. But at the same time, I feel like it gave me a bit of like a pause, like a relaxation between my first degree and actually getting properly into dentistry, which is quite fun. Yeah.
So how
So you're
does
looking forward.
in like in Mary's, how does like your clinics work?
What do you mean by
Like,
how does
do
it
you have
work?
patients? Because I've heard that you guys just have a set of patients every day, and then everyone just gets allocated the patients, or do you see it on your timetable before, and you can like book patients in yourself?
So kind of both. Where if you don't have a patient, right, as in like a previously like allocated patient, you go in on the day. There's a big list. Choose whichever patient. They put okay, this patient is a perio patient, pros patient, the extraction patient, that kind of stuff. And yeah, whoever picks first. But then say if you've already got continued care, you've seen a patient before, you'd be like, okay, I've seen that patient before, I want that patient back. And they'll be fine with it. And then when you book them in, so at the end of every single clinic, after every single appointment, you send like a little email to the front desk, be like, okay, can you book them in for this date? And then yeah. So sometimes people in pairs, they have like a shared calendar. So then they know, okay, yeah, we've got this patient booked in for this day or that day. So it's you don't really allocate them yourselves, but you like just keep track of where you've like booked them in and stuff that kind of stuff. Yeah. How about yourself? How's it,
For
Kings?
us, we have like a system called Epic, and you can see your schedule and like your slots open on the day to your clinic. So if it's green, then you have to send a request form to like the like it's called SLO. So we send like a request form to them to let them know that we have a free appointment and we want a patient, and then we just tick off what we want. So it's very hard to get what you want. Like obviously everyone wants fillings, but it's very rare. So you just tick off everything that you're able to do in third year, and then they then try to fill in that spot. But obviously it's if it's like 1 week in advance, it's very unlikely they'll be able to fill it. So usually you have to do it like 3 weeks in advance, but you kind of just book your patients yourself. And from that same system, you could then send the follow up appointment request. And yeah, so patients have to be booked in for you. So it's not like you go in on the day and can like spontaneously get a patient. Like you kind of are aware of the patient beforehand because it's all on our system.
Okay. Yeah, so like sometimes we just try and get in there early to try and get
Yeah.
the first pick of patients, which sometimes ends up with people having the same type of patient. So my clinical partner, she's been basically stuck with pros patients for ages. And she's like, I just really just want to do like she hasn't done 6 PPC or anything like that. So only like lot on Thursday she did her first like screening and that kind of stuff because she'd just been stuck with pros before that. Which is like good for like learning all your like remembering all the pro stuff, but then gotta have like a variety of stuff to do.
How does it work
Yeah.
with POS patients? Is it like dentures?
Yeah, so it would be dentures, so that'd be like partial partials or complete. And yeah, we take impressions. I think with so with Barkentine, the one that we just moved to, that one doesn't have like its own pros lab in there.
Mhm.
So we take the impressions and then we just leave it in the fridge and then end of the they'll send it back to Whitechapel.
Mhm.
But when you're in fifth year and you're in Whitechapel, you need to do the entire thing yourself. So like cast it up yourself, do all the what do you call it, making like all the casts and making the occlusal rims, all that kind of stuff yourself because you're presenting this pros case to like your pros tutor, that kind of stuff at the end. But before that, and when you're in third year, fourth year, you can just send it off to the lab and they'll do it for you.
And then do you then see that patient again to do the next step, like jaw edge or
Yeah,
impressions? So with POS patients, you kind of have to see them for a while, right? Yeah.
yeah. You kind of like you can't also don't want to kind of lose them
Mhm.
because the way that pros works for your requirements is you got to do 3 complete pros cases by the end of your degree. So if you were doing it halfway and you lose them, then it's just like, oh, now I've got to start again with someone else. So you've basically got to try and keep the patient, because what can happen is because we're in on Thursdays, the patient might call up the front desk and be like, oh, I can't make that Thursday. I can make this Tuesday. Now they're booked in for another patient, for another student. So we've really got to keep an eye on that. Be like, okay, where's my patient gone? And then you try and get in contact with them, and be like, oh, if you want to keep me, you're gonna have to have come in on Thursdays, that kind of stuff, which is a bit annoying because patients they don't know that.
Mhm.
that we're only in on Thursday and also like morning or afternoon. And obviously it's got to suit their schedule, otherwise they can't come in. So that's that's the only like admin kind of frustration, but it's just that's just the nature of when we're doing it as students. We're not in every single day.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Sure, you're doing the outro. Yeah,
Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of Career Podcast. It was a bit different, but we hope you enjoyed it. And just remember that it doesn't really matter what dental university you go to as long as you get the degree you want at the end. Bye bye.
yeah. Bye.
I always find the intros and